Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Cynthia at the Table. I am your host, Cynthia, and I have here with me my co-host, Arena.
Hello.
We also have returning to the table the highly acclaimed Pastor George Thompson from Faithful Central Baptist Church, located in Inglewood, California.
Good. Hey, how you doing? I'm glad you said Inglewood. You know, I kind of got to say it a little bit like that. I am so glad to be here. Thank you for having me back at the table. Glad to be here.
And we are happy to have you back with us. As I continue to celebrate my 40th career anniversary in the month of August, I wanted to host an episode about faith, family, and friends. Because like so many others, it really does take a village and faith to get us through these trying times. And these are definitely hard times. Some people are down literally to their last dime. Everything that is going on around us is enough for anyone to lose sight of who's in control and maybe even waver in their walk. And in doing so, people tend to naturally vacillate between their faith, family, and friends. And they look to what gives them comfort and makes them feel good. But we must continue to stay encouraged and hold steady to our faith. Spiritually speaking, I recall a recent live stream sermon from a few weeks ago that Pastor Larry Weaver of Atherton Baptist Church in Hawthorne delivered. I see you smiling, Pastor, on the book of Judges. You all remember Pastor Weaver. He was at the table with us for our Father's Day episode.
Yes.
I was really particularly inspired by his message as he talked about elevating one's faith and trust in God, and that even during this problematic, difficult, and pandemic time, he is still on the throne. He also said that the battle is not ours. And he asked folks, how are you loving, giving, and praying? He also asked, are you lifting up others in their time of need? So with that, let's get to some table talk with our current panelists. To kick things off, let's talk about how faith, family, and friends have helped you get through these times. The COVID-19, the civil unrest, the political climate, and just this new normal in general. Pastor George.
First of all, I wanted to tell you, happy anniversary, 40 years. That shows a dedication, and that also shows discipline. One of the things that I tell my kids is I tell them there's rules to being successful in life. And one of them is to put God first. And then after that, the second thing that I tell them is to be on time, to finish what you start, to do what you say you're going to do, and say please and thank you. And when you work somewhere and you dedicate your life to something for over 40 years, that means one, you're showing up. Two is you're dedicated. And then it shows a standard of excellence that you have done. And I just want to let you know, I applaud that. I'm giving you an ovation. Matter of fact, I'm going to go stand up and give you a standing ovation, but the screen going to fall out of the screen because I'm a little bit taller. So in that area, but I want to just let you know that I congratulate you on that. And I celebrate that with you. And also during this time, it's a time that we celebrate you because now celebrations are a little bit different now. You look at weddings, and I've done a Zoom wedding, and usually when someone asks me to perform a wedding, it's a different type of person. Like they're not having it a big, huge, spending a lot of money. They're typically going to do it a little bit more inexpensively. Then we're going to put a house out there on the dance floor, and we're going to start contributing for them to have a down payment. You see, there's a little bit of shift in thinking, and that's one of the things we have to do right now. As we're talking about our faith and our family and our friends, if they're important to us, then we just have to have, and we want to do certain things. Like you brought up certain things. This COVID-19 was something supposed to be 3 weeks? It told everybody to go home for 2 weeks. Yeah. And then wear a mask, wash your hands. And then some people did it, some people didn't. So then you saw what's happening now. Then the civil unrest. And then also the political climate, the things that you're bringing up. These are all things that what we want to do in all these areas. The first thing is that I've been telling people, and this is as a pastor, and then also, as you know, I'm a financial pastor of stewardship. So I help people manage their time, their talent, and their treasure. So in that, The number one thing you need to have is a plan. Can someone just say a plan? So you just need to have a plan. So you have the plan for your faith. That means that we have to be girded up. You need to have time that you have your prayer time that you set up. As you say in 3 John, it says in 3 John 2, it says, beloved, I pray that you prosper, be in health, even as your soul prosper. God's asked you to do 3 things. He wants your soul to prosper, but then he wants you to be in health. So we want to eat right, and I'm going to come to that a little bit later as part of your plan. Right. And then the second thing is, when it says prosper, it means to have a good journey. So now I've added something to you. I've added something. I brought something else to the table. We're faith, family, and then we're friends, but then we're also finances, because you have to manage your finances during this time. So we want to have a plan that encompasses all these areas. So, but we're starting with faith. That means you want to have a Bible study, and you want to connect with the church that you're at. If you're at Atherton Baptist and you have Pastor Larry Weaver, you want to stay there. And I'm sure they're doing classes by Zoom or however else that you're doing them. But stay connected to your church and be giving. But then also have a prayer partner that you're praying with every week. I even tell this to pastors that I also, as you know, I'm at Faithful Central with Bishop Kenneth Ulmer's. A pastor that call me, and they're from doing funerals over Zoom or doing with the numbers and under all these things, there's so much more pressure on people. So you number one want to have your prayer life and how you're going to do that. Right. The second thing is that you want to have some form, also a plan for how you're going to sleep and how you're going to learn how to relax your mind. Because now we're finding out that people are going to work. Yeah. And they're working from home. So we've done an unofficial poll, but now I've moved it to official. Right. 85% of people say, I asked you, do you work the same, less, or more? 85% of people say they work harder now. And we have certain rules that you have. You cannot bring that laptop to bed. Don't have that laptop sitting in your bed room and doing it. So there's certain things you want to do. That you want to have a work area. And then, I don't know if we have time to get into it, but if you have kids, so you may hear them in the background a little bit. Yes. In doing this, but when you have kids, they have a certain area they sit in, and there's a certain area they study in, there's a certain area they work in. So you want to make sure you're separating that out, but you want to have some form of normacy in your plan where you're doing that. So you want to have a plan for all of these. I'm going to go to finances, but I'm going to hit now, but you have a faith plan. Then I'm going to hit family. Also, hey, you know what we're doing? We're actually doing Zooms where we're doing mini family reunions where I'm checking in. We have some people that I didn't say older, I'm going to say more mature. They're learning the Zoom, they're learning the thing. We're calling them, we're praying with them, and we're doing things. We're saying, hey, don't go outside. What time are you going to get the food? What are you doing? And interacting. So one of the things we're doing is we're having parents and grandparents read to their grandchildren. So one day my dad calls me, he has this funky little hat on. And I say, hey, Dad, what's going on? He goes, hey, I want to read a story to a kid. I'm like, what's with the hat? He goes, it's part of the story. I said, well, now I want to hear the story now, and doing it. So stay active with family, whether you're doing a Zoom, and then you have little icebreakers, they shout out your city, tell us a story, put up a picture of you as a kid, and just keep interactive with family and do that. And friends, check in on people, and we want to keep doing that. And then I just want to say one thing about finances, and then but you understand that there's a whole repertoire behind that. But you want to actually have what's called a COVID budget, a budget that operates in this current environment and that we're going into. The second is you want to make sure you're handling your budget, and then what your debt is, what you need to discuss. If you lost your job, there's certain things you want to do. You want to talk to your lenders, and you want to have certain things. I teach I have classes on this, and we do those. And the third area is prosperity, what God's blessed you with. Continue to give and continue to do what you're doing, but then also we shouldn't be selling these things we're talking about, your 401k and retirements. Don't sell when the markets were down, but now as you see they've come back, is that we want to have a way of managing that, and also your retirement and things like this, and look for opportunity in this as well. So you want to be able to manage your faith, family, friends, and your finances through this, that you not only just survive, but you thrive.
Well, it looks like we'll have the pastor back on a whole nother episode on finance. But I appreciate him adding a fourth category. Noted.
Just gonna bring something to the table.
Keeping them at the table. Arena, let's hear from you on this.
Yes, I just echo everything what Pastor Thompson has said. But before I kind of get into, my response, Cynthia, first let me just start off by saying I am so grateful and honored to be here today with you, Cynthia McCoy Miller, and our special guest, Pastor Thompson. Truly, this is just an honor. And I know, Cynthia, that because of the God in you, that you have established a platform where our community, our listeners can be heard and connected to hear the truth. And so I applaud you and thank you for your leadership and opening the door of new beginnings and purpose. And I love today's topic because it's so relevant in what we're experiencing today, right? Mm-hmm. In our world, our country, in our cities. And Pastor, as you know, faith is impossible without him, right? And we need our family and friends. And so I just would like to give a shout out to my pastor, Pastor Ronald Bolden of Greater Mount Zion. Because of his leadership, me and my family, along with about 30 other members, just completed a 21-day fast and prayer. And it was such a remarkable and refreshing experience, both spiritually, physically. And Pastor, I know that you kind of talked about some nuggets about what we're eating. And through this fast and prayer, we lost weight. Still got to get, some more mountains to climb there, but we lost weight and really just was conscious now of what we're eating, what we're putting in our body. But seriously, just, as we're talking about faith and family, what we experienced during that time and witness was people feeling depressed, talking about anxiety, anger, stress, financial burdens, just overeating, putting the wrong things in their body. And I think because of our collective energy, and our strength during that time, we can now better support each other and hold each other up and really to just be more accountable and loving and thoughtful and kind, particularly during this time of COVID and staying in his presence. It's so critical and important during this time. So definitely, we are at a time more than ever because of COVID-19, the economic downtime, the civil unrest. It is extremely important that we continue to refocus our thoughts, our behaviors in a positive light, and stay connected with our family and friends and just continue to uplift each other. So I certainly appreciate the question. I love it. Love to hear more about what Cynthia at the table is going to be talking about around these areas. And now Pastor has added another layer to
the finance.
Finance. And we all know in our community, we need some lessons on finances. So I appreciate that, Cynthia.
Thank you both. So the next question really kind of overlaps with some of what I've heard you share in your responses to the first question, because it really speaks to how does your family, faith, and friends influence, support, and guide you in the work that you do. And what I hear coming out is it's just naturally and innate and incorporated in who you are and what you do day to day. So if you could, I would appreciate you elaborating just a little bit more, if that makes sense to you.
Right. Would you like to go first?
Yes.
Because I went first last time.
Yes.
Sure. And not a problem. Cynthia, again, this is another great question, right? And just as you were stating it, the question, my mind immediately went to my faith, right? Without faith, I can't breathe, I can't move. And so I'm often reminded of, am I listening to him and what he's speaking to me? Are my thoughts and views in alignment with him, right? And because when this happens, issues, they don't matter. The assignments that we're tasked and charged to do, it doesn't matter because we're trusting and believing and knowing that it's all for his purpose, it's for his benefit. And ultimately, we are rewarded in the end. So I love the question again.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And what I think about is this the whole part I want everyone, if you don't remember anything else, remember this, that we should come out of this better because of what God's plan is for our life.
That's right.
Jeremiah 29:11. I'm going to say it 3 times.
All right.
God has a plan for you.
Yes.
A purpose,
Write
of hope, and a future, not to harm you. So you have to look at this like this. We're going to make, by the way, everyone, we're going to make it through this. So we don't walk around in fear, okay? 1 Timothy 1:7. God hath not given us a spirit of fear. Power, love, sound mind. We got to use a sound mind. We got to use it.
I see.
So with our families, we should be everything that's happening to us. We should come out better. I am interacting with my family more now than I ever have because I'm like this. Let's do a Zoom. See, before now everybody was home. Okay?
Right.
Then you want to know something? You know something about that happened with George Floyd? The reason why that got so much attention was because everybody was at home. He's not the first Black man to be killed.
Right.
Eric Garner's story is one that makes, they all make me mad, but Eric Garner was standing outside in New Jersey telling the police, step away, leave me alone. They said he wasn't paying enough taxes, jumped on his neck, choked him and killed him. Then they said he died because he was overweight. I said, he was walking around fine until you started choking.
Right.
Right.
Andrew Castillo, but everybody was at home. The same one with the woman weaponizing the police when she was walking her dog, and the Black man was just walking down there and doing that. So now people can see it. And what just recently happened, man just walking away trying to get in his car. And so now people can't say they're scared for their life when they're grabbing him by the shirt while he's walking to his car. So now we can come together and now people know to vote. But also to follow up, there's the whole ballot, and there's to have, remember did I say a plan? I think I brought this up several times, what your whole plan is, not just voting, just for the presidential election, but what's up with the district attorneys? You're seeing all the way down and doing it, and then being active. We used to have a political action committee at our church. One of the things we're doing now is a community engagement. Like, let's engage and find out about housing, right? So we want to find out about housing. See, I threw that. I bring in finance to that. So then, but what we're doing is we're finding out how what the engagement level is with your family, right? Mm-hmm. With your friends, like get your friends together and say, hey, call up some people that are more mature and say, hey, look, I'm going to go down to Target. What do you need? And just getting it. Then say, be a separate bag. Hey, and then look, I got the Clorox. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then teaching it. Then also teaching our children, like to grow in spirit. Like, so I have a whole, which I'm about to release, a whole kids and investing section. And we have kids against adults, and the kids are killing the adults. The kids are doing extremely well with investing. You want to know why? They have no fear. They already know all the technology. They already know all the company. You know what I mean? They're familiar with because half of them are just buying the video games they're playing, the shoes they're wearing, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And they're learning from it. So that's how we're engaging with the whole family in finances. Mm-hmm. And we're doing 2 at 1. And then we're doing 3 in 1. We have our faith, and then we have our family together, and then we also have our finances, and we have our friends. So we want to keep them, but God is always first. Always. And then and then that's how we walk through this and actually be more. We should walk through this now. Say one last thing, then I'm going to let you go back to the question. Is this: there is no way you can come through this and not have more faith, because your bank account now. If you is anybody here waiting on the government to save them? Okay, you already there. You are. You ain't waiting for the mayor to save you. You ain't waiting on no governor to save you. I ain't trying to get no argument because I know how divisive everybody is. I'm not saying whether you want the party in there, you're a Democrat or a Republican. I'm just saying that right now the only thing you have is God that you can rely on to do this. Because he said if we will humble ourselves, he will heal this land. So we found out people got to be humble. Yeah. Because all the other stuff isn't working. Yeah. None of it's working. So in doing that, that's how we're all going to get this together. A good question.
Yeah. Amazing. I'm really enjoying the 2 of you. So my last question has to do with, I never let any of the folks that come to the table leave without giving us some tips for the toolbox, some words of encouragement that you can offer the viewers to help encourage them in managing day to day. And you've already given us some nuggets. I just want to know, is there anything in addition to and outside of what you have already shared that would be a good takeaway that our viewers can hold on to?
Ladies first.
I mentioned about the fast, and that truly just opened doors of opportunity for me to really kind of just refocus, what's in my life and what I'm doing. And one of the most recent daily practices that I've instituted since my fast was every morning I get up at 6 o'clock and I pray and I meditate, and then I take a walk. And as I'm meditating and walking, I'm reflecting on his grace, his goodness, the things that I want him to do in my life, the things that I'm grateful for what he is doing, and the coverings that he have over my life and my family. And I just encourage the listeners, no matter what your belief, your walk in life is, meditate and trust and believe in yourself. There was a quote as I was listening to one of the meditations that I listened to this morning, and I'll share it with the listeners. It says, learn to trust your journey, even if you don't understand it. Right. And I was like, wow, learn to trust your journey, even if you don't understand it. And sometimes we go through life, and we walk in fear. We don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty, especially today, what's going on around us. But it is extremely important that we just start our day on the right path and gathering our thoughts, reflecting on the positive things that is happening in our life around us, and being thankful. So I leave and say, don't lose sight on your hope. The storm eventually will pass.
That's right.
I'm going to give Miss Copeland a hand on that one. Because you know what you said. I'm sorry, the pastor part of me jumped out when you were talking. And you said, you said, we don't know what's going to happen to us. And we shouldn't walk in fear and everything. Because I just gave you Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you. Not you know them. I know them. So you ain't got to worry about that. You see, the mistake that we make is we try to time God. We don't got to time God. We got to trust God because he has a plan for us. That's why right now we're trying to time, when's the COVID-19 going to be over? When are we going to get our rights? When are we going to do this? When can a black man just come down here and not have, when can that happen? So we have to trust God. He has that. That's when that releases the because we try to do stuff under our own power. But you're saying that the power is actually in God. Like you've all read Philippians 4:13, and that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We always misquote that. We say I can do all things. No. Through Christ, meaning that he opens the door for you. And he strengthens you. You can't lift no weight, but with him, you can lift all the weight. See, that's why we got to trust him. Yeah. So when you preach your first sermon, that's your first point. Those two scriptures, and start off with the point right there. You got it. And then what you're gonna do is bring up fasting, and then you're gonna celebrate with all the what you can see better now, and then do vision. See that? Boom. That's right. That's awesome. And doing that. So I just think that is really important. Everything that you just said. And also in helping people, and also in teaching them. And mine are real simple. I think that my parting words for everybody is to take action. Faith without works. So we want to take action. So just in all the areas that were outlined, I think we should look, everyone should right now type in, if you're listening to podcasts, or write down 2 things you're going to do in all the areas that have been outlined. By Cynthia. In other words, like the first one is faith. Like, what are the 2 things you're going to do? I'm going to join a prayer group. I'm going to study the Bible. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do this. Family. What 2 family members are you going to call each week and pray with them? Yeah. And then what you're going to do with your family? You're going to set up a family reunion, and then look, you have a organization. Then you have what's called happy hour right at the end, where you guys just play games and you just do things and just guess people's maiden name. It's just like, there's a whole list of things you can do that are funny in that. Then also with your friends, because there's a lot of people that are lonely, and you're seeing that depression and the different areas. Right. And then before I go to finances, I'm going to say Miss Copeland said, and then if you decide to do fasting, remember we're doing F's. Now she brought that to the table, Cynthia. I didn't bring that. I heard her. I didn't, and if you heard her, okay, I just want to let you know I heard her too. And I just want to let you know also on our website, we can send it to you, is we do financial fasts, so we get right financially. So in doing that, but fasting creates, I'm a foodie, so when I started learning to fast, it brings you much closer to God, and then you can see better. You can begin to do things, and you'll see more what God has for you. Because what it's doing is eliminating all the confusion and focus and all. You're not thinking about other things. You're thinking about what your position is and how to get in the right position with God. And that's next to Him. Okay. And then the last area is, what 2 financial things are you going to do? Whether it's getting a budget, whether it's getting out of debt, whether it's understanding more about your 401k, retirement, different things like this. But also, it all starts with giving. So you always put God first. The tithe, you always put God first. And then in doing that, as you know, it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and the rest shall be added unto you. It's not saying things are not important, but God is the most important. Yes. And then the things will come because He'll take care of it. Don't time Him, trust Him.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. Awesome.
Amazing. Well, all right. That's our time. I hope this episode on faith, family, and friends has been uplifting and encouraging to all of our listeners. I want to thank my co-host, Arena, and thanks to our special guest, Pastor George Thompson.
I'm coming back. I need more time. I want to go back into
next week as we close out the month of August with an episode on self-care. You touched a little bit on the self-care. So listeners, you don't want to miss it. With that, I'll leave you with the quote I found online that's short and sweet. It says, "It's not what we have, but who we have in our lives that counts." So check in on your family and friends. Whatever your faith may be, or whoever is in your circle of supports, cherish and hold on to that which sustains you and keeps you grounded. And please remember to vote and complete your census. We cannot be complicit during these times, as everything we do counts. Until next time, be safe, stay well, and stay connected. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook. Thank you all again so much.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Pastor Thompson.